All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to take a second and talk about VA loans and why they are just so amazingly unique compared to other loan types, any other loan type really. And so if you have access to the VA loan, you really need to watch this video in its entirety so you can understand how to fully utilize the VA loan and why your loan is really, really powerful in you building wealth for you and your family, if you'd like to do that. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is VA loan limits, right? So how big of a VA loan can you get? Well, if you were comparing it to a conventional loan or an FHA loan, there is a limit, and every year that limit changes, okay? However, with a VA loan, currently there is technically no loan limit. So what happens is you're able to get a VA loan with 0% down. That's right, no money down for an unlimited amount that you need. So if you have full entitlement, for example, and this applies to those who do have full entitlement on your certificate of eligibility, you can buy a $2 million home with zero down. It wasn't always like that, but that changed 4 years ago. All right. Now, if you have had a previous VA loan and you haven't sold that property, or if some of your entitlement was used up because of a foreclosure, or a short sale, something like that, then you're going to have a limit on how much you can buy with your VA loan and put 0% down. So you may have to put some money down moving forward, but that's only if you have your entitlement used up. If your entitlement is free and clear, you're actually able to buy a home without any limit on the loan amount. It is amazing, it's very powerful, and you need to understand that that's a huge difference between a VA loan and other types of loans. Now, specifically, when you talk about qualifications, okay, let's get into credit. So when it comes to credit, credit is typically restricted on other types of loans. So for example, there's a minimum credit score for conventional, that's 620. For FHA, it's 500 with 10% down, or 580 with 3.5% down. On VA, you actually don't have a minimum credit score. So what that means is that given the situation, right, as long as everything checks out, if you had a 400 credit score, well, as long as there isn't really any major derogatory events recently, you're able to qualify with a manual review, meaning an underwriter, a VA underwriter, and for us, that's in-house, right? They're going to look at your file, they're going to look at everything and go, well, it looks like this veteran can afford this home and he'll be likely to make the payments on time. Because you may have had, like the many folks that I work with on a regular basis, you may have had a one-off situation happen in your life. Maybe COVID really affected you negatively financially. Maybe you had a family event. And so everything was kind of like a unique negative time on your credit, but you're able to still pay for your bills and do everything. And you've been proving that for the last 12 months. Well, you should be able to qualify despite any sort of credit score. And that's a very unique thing when it comes to VA compared to the other loan types. So you need to know there are no minimum credit score requirements for VA. And listen, I work with veterans all the time. This is a huge, huge thing that is extremely helpful. Now, here's the thing. Not every lender can do these things. Okay, this is important to understand. Not every lender has no overlays or extra rules on top of what VA will allow. Most lenders will tell you they have a minimum credit score for VA. All right, so you need to understand that. They may even have a maximum loan amount, but we do not. And so you need to understand that. Now, when it comes to debt to income ratio, that's another credit qualifier. And we're going to look at the fact that VA technically does not have a maximum debt to income ratio. That's right. So we've had situations where maybe a veteran is moving and they're selling their old home and they need to buy a new home. And because of the fact that they're not renting their old house out, the debt to income ratio has to include both of their payments and all their obligations. So the debt to income ratio may be 70%, 75%. We've approved those before, okay? Because we know that the veteran is going to be okay. They're going to sell their home and all that. The point is VA will allow it because they technically do not have any overlays or extra rules. And we shouldn't, as a lender, shouldn't get in the way of what VA will allow you to do. All right, so the benefits are powerful, but you have to work with a lender that can unlock those benefits for you. And so that's what is so important. So please do not let anybody out there tell you that you need to put a certain amount down when it comes to a certain amount of loan, right? Right now, you've got around 766,000 as the maximum loan limit for conventional. That is not the maximum loan limit with 0% down for VA anymore. And again, that changed 4 years ago. You need to understand that VA does not have a minimum credit score. You also need to understand that it does not have a maximum debt to income ratio. And Unlike an FHA government loan, with a VA loan, you're able to use the same loan over and over. You can have many VA loans all at once. Okay, with FHA, technically you can, but then they get weird about how far it is from your house. I've had veterans move to a bigger home right down the street from their old house with a VA loan on it because their family size grew. All right, and that's allowed, and you can still do it depending on the amount of the purchase price and the loan amount. You can still do it with 0% down. All right, because there's bonus entitlement on top of your regular entitlement. I don't want to complicate the video too much, but the point is, if you have questions about VA loan and your benefit on using the VA loan and your scenario, you need to reach out, all right? Because you need to work with a lender that A, doesn't have any extra rules, and B, understands how to structure these type of scenarios to make sure that you get an approval. Now, when you're in underwriting, all right, that's another thing about VA that's really, really cool. When you're in underwriting, we have an automated approval system. Well, the VA investors have an automated approval system. All right. When we run your file through there, it may not give an approval, and most of the time, we can find a way to get you approved still with a manual review. All right. So this happens all the time. Well-qualified folks, and for some reason, maybe the debt-to-income ratio gets a little too high, and the automated system doesn't offer that approval. Well, you want to work with a lender that can do a manual underwrite review as well. That's going to allow an actual human being to look at your file and go, this makes sense. All right, versus some sort of AI or some sort of automated system. So we do that, and that's something that's really cool about VA that is technically not the same with every other loan type. All right, so if you have questions about your VA benefit, using your VA loan, say you're in a situation where you're relocating because of an assignment, and you want to maybe look at renting out your old house, you need to understand that that is a really possible thing. You don't have to sell your home to move to a new home. It is cool. Now, one of the things you also need to know, here's a unique facet. If you want to free up your VA benefit, all right, so say you have a home with a VA loan on it and you want to free that up so you have your full entitlement. The VA will allow you to refinance your property, your current home, into a different type of loan, like a conventional loan. That way your entitlement is completely restored, so you can go and buy as much home as you want with 0% down. But they'll allow you to do that only once. All right, so you need to understand that that's a unique thing about VA that can be done, but they'll only allow it one time. All right, so again, if you have questions about your VA benefit or using the VA loan, please reach out to me. My cell phone number, direct cell phone number, is in the description below, and I'll be glad to talk with you. Or you can set a one-on-one consultation via the Calendly link in the description below, and we can talk about your scenario. All right, any questions you have, throw them our way. We're ready for them. Guys, thank you for your service. I appreciate you men and women out there who are doing so much for us, and hopefully you fully are able to utilize the VA loan benefit by knowing how different it really is, how unique it really is, how powerful it really is, and then working with someone who can actually get it done without getting in the way. Take care. Thanks for watching.